We are cooking up a delicious podcast for you today, served with a pint of awesome. We got Cary Devine with us of Duke and Devines. We're excited. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Montreal's Elite Unleashed. I'm your host, Logan Boyce. With me, as always, and back in the studio is Jonathan Ehrlich. Welcome back, John. And we are so psyched to have Cary Devine here, owner of my favorite pub in all of Montreal. Thank you so much for taking the time and being here, man.
My pleasure. I'm very happy to be here.
I have so many amazing memories from Duke and Devines. One of my favorite ones that I'll start by sharing and get the conversations flowing is when you guys first opened. I came with my mom because I don't know, I took my mom out for a nice little, son-mother date. And I wanted to try the chicken wings, and we tried something else. I don't remember what we tried, but it was just amazing food, like really, really amazing food.
I think I remember that day because I remember being marked by you the first time you came in with your mom. Obviously, it's like 9 years ago. I don't remember what you had, but I remember you coming in for that first time and being impressed.
So Cary, you come over to me and you're like, "Hey, how are you liking everything?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is Cary Devine. Oh man, okay, yeah. Everything's great. Yeah, so great." And he's like, "Did you see the upstairs?" So no, we didn't see the upstairs. "Oh, you got to come up in case you want to do events up there or whatever." So we go up. He pours us a pint or a half pint of the Boston Lager there. What's that called again? Sam Adams.
Sam Adams, yeah.
Yeah, so we had a nice pint of Sam Adams, and we're just talking about everything under the sun. My mom was talking about the bars that she had went to in Eastern Canada.
Yeah,
and
I do actually remember this transaction or this time completely.
And it was such a cool moment to be showered with so much love from the owner of an establishment. It was great.
I actually love when people come into the restaurant and they've never been there before, and I get that moment where I can say, "Hey, do you want to come and check up upstairs?" Right? Because people are always shocked. They come inside and it's like a 40-seater downstairs, and then they say, "Sure, we'll come on upstairs." And sometimes they're like trepidatious, right? Do I go upstairs? What's going to be waiting for me? And then I'll go upstairs first, and then I'll turn the corner and wait for them to walk through the room. And they get those 3 moments of, because as you guys have been there, you turn the corners, it's like, "Oh, wow." And then they turn the next corner, "Oh, wow." And then they turn the third corner to the back room. It's like, "Oh my God, I never knew this." But when it's that first timer coming by to the restaurant, I love the idea that it tells the story of potential.
Yeah.
Just like 2 days ago, somebody came up. They're from Kirkland. They had never been to the restaurant
No
before.
way.
And it's like, "I've heard about it. I've never been." And she came in, and she was super impressed. But it always means that there's more potential out there.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, it's thrilling. From the pride in me says, "Why haven't you been here yet?" Right? Like, what have I done wrong to not make you walk through the door yet? So that hurts a little bit. Like, you're definitely wrong. But it tells the story that there's more out there, which is fun.
How did you get into being a restaurateur?
I started when I was 14. Bussing tables in LaSalle at Brasserie des Rapides, which is still there. Manon was the server that kind of showed me the way. I loved it right away because there's a rush involved. There's an excitement. There's a go, go, go. And then after the shift is done, the whole staff can kind of relax, and we got through it, and we did our separate thing. So at a very, very young age, 15, 16, I went to the Master School of Bartending downtown. I was a young kid doing that bartending course, wanting to be like, I guess, Cheers, Sam Malone.
Yeah, sure.
Behind the bar. It seemed like the coolest job in the world to be the guy with all the power, control behind the bar. And I thought, okay, I'll do my course, then I'll get these jobs, and it'll be so easy. It wasn't that easy. I did my course, but I soon learned that the course really doesn't mean anything. You might know how to make a rum and coke. You might know where the drinks come from, but that's not the foundation. The foundation is actually knowing people, knowing how to talk, knowing how to keep people entertained. So I went from doing my courses to getting a job as a busboy on Saint Laurent Street at a club called Circus, which was on top of DeSalvio's. Yeah. So I did that for a little while, and I guess always stayed in it. And I guess the turning point was actually serendipitously. I was driving a great friend, Vitaliano Torchia, to the West Island because he wanted to pick up a Rockaberry special pie.
Okay.
At Rockaberry's. We're going to his house on a Sunday. And long story very short, this might take a long time actually. I'm from LaSalle, he's from Lachine. People from LaSalle never came to the West Island because they went downtown.
Yeah.
People from Lachine did both, West Island, downtown.
Yeah.
So he wanted to bring me to Rockaberry's, never been there. I'd never been past the 13. We get to this Rockaberry's place where he wants to pick up a pie, and there's a sign that says, "Apply within." I was 21 at the time, 20 at the time. And I said, I happen to have CVs in my car, I'll apply. Out of dumb, stupid luck, this guy from LaSalle applies at Rockaberry's on Sources, becomes the first guy to ever work at the Rockaberry as a server, get the job, end up going from there getting a job at Jack Astor's, and that changed my world forever. Jack Astor's, I was there for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Met my wife, met my business partner at Duke and Devine.
Oh, cool.
Met my current really good group of guy friends. But that one butterfly moment of going into Rockaberry, out of nowhere, steered me completely in a different direction, which eventually landed me at Duke and Devine's.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really actually kind of a crazy butterfly moment of how did that happen? If I hadn't done that, if I hadn't gone to pick up that pie, none of this would exist.
When you first were saying you walked up to the door and you saw a sign and it said apply within, I heard a pie within. And I was like, ooh, you got inspired by the sign?
Yeah.
A pie within?
At Rockaberry's, it would fit perfectly, right?
Yeah. They missed the marketing opportunity there.
A pie within.
But yeah, that's really cool. So then you met your business partner, and then you guys said, you know what, this restaurant thing, this is super easy. Because it's so funny. You were saying you do what's it called? You do the course, and the course doesn't actually teach you anything. You got to learn about people. I was like, that can be directly pulled what you just said and plugged into real estate.
Yeah, or many
other businesses.
Many professions.
So at Jack Astor's, where I met my partner, one of their theories of the bartending course that they told you. Well, it wasn't a bartending course that I took when I was 17, 18, but how to tend the bar was corner bar theory. So we're sitting at a table right now. There's a corner, this corner. If I get you to talk to me as the bartender over there, I'm the bartender and I'm serving you guys and you guys start talking. Once I've got these two people talking, as the bartender, I'm done. Now you guys are coming for the person beside you. You're not coming for me, the bartender. You're not coming for the drink. You're coming for the relationship at the table, right? So you start talking to this guy. Oh, the magic has now happened. I can now leave, and my job of entertaining you is kind of half over.
I'm sorry. Just to rewind, that was taught to you at Jack Astor's?
Yeah.
No way.
Once you get the people at the bar engaged, people don't come to restaurants and bars for food and drink because you can get food and drink at home. They come for boy meets girl. They come for ambiance. They come for companionship. They come for the space. Cheese, bread, sandwich, beer at home, cheaper, easier, go to the bathroom when you want to, wear your pajamas if you want to. That's not why they're coming to restaurants. They're coming to restaurants for that experience of, I want to be around somebody. I want to talk to my mom. I want to go with my guy friends. But as a bartender, when you get this guy and that guy to talk to each other and become friendly, now they can't wait to come back the next day and see their friend. And by default, give the restaurant, the bartender, the owner more money. So once I get you guys talking, my relationship has been started.
That's so cool.
It's called corner bar theory.
I had no clue.
Wow.
So you guys were doing that.
All this time we've been manipulating you, right? There's a science to it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's only learned over years and years and years of doing it.
Some bartender made us friends, and we didn't even know it.
We didn't even know about it.
We owe someone a big thank you.
When O'Regan's downtown, do you remember O'Regan's?
No.
It was near McKibben's. It was near Hurley's.
Oh yeah.
They hired this great Irish-speaking, good-looking bartender, and he was the toast of the town. Everyone came to see him. Everyone was there to be entertained by him. The moment he left that bar to get another job elsewhere, the sales plummeted.
Oh, wow.
Because you were coming for the fixture of the bartender,
right,
and not for the establishment. We, Duke and Devines, we're a place that make all of our food from scratch, right? We sell Guinness, we sell different pints. But you can get a Guinness or a pint or a discount anywhere.
Right.
Once I make you attracted to something like the fish tacos or the chicken and waffles or the whatever it might be, once I make you attracted to that food item, you're coming back for that. Once I make you attracted to the ambiance or the companionship of everyone around you or the ambiance, you're coming for that. I don't want to make you attracted to the discount or only the bartender, because if I leave or the discount gets better somewhere else, there's no loyalty to that.
But it's cool because if you're making your food fresh, like you're saying, like it's homemade food, then you want to bring people from out of town there too. Like everyone has their restaurants that they bring people from out of town.
Totally.
And Duke's is definitely one of those spots. I want people to experience that because it's just cool.
My very best marketing expense ever over the 15 years that I've been in business is handing out that $10 coupon at the train station. Giving out, anyone calls me up and says, hey, we're looking for a raffle prize for this charity. Yes, to everybody. Because once you come in once, if I execute the way I'm supposed to execute, you're going to like your food, you're going to like your service, you're going to like your ambiance.
Yeah, you're going to come back
times. I may burn the burger. We're human. I may have too much salt on the fries. It happens all the time that no one's ever perfectly satisfied all the time. But that $15, $25 gift card that goes into your pocket will get paid back 50 times over because we know that the food is good. We make everything from scratch, except for the ice cream, the hamburger buns, and the baguette. Everything else gets manipulated somehow.
Wow.
And it works. You've had the food there.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's top notch, right?
It sure is.
And I don't say it from an arrogant standpoint. I say it from clarity. If you order the fish tacos on my menu and you read the menu and you read the descriptions, I know you're going to like it.
Well, so this is a really cool kind of segue, because I think a lot of people, when they go into business, the first thing that they think about is, how can I be cheaper? And I think it's becomes a race to the bottom, whether you're in the restaurant business, when you're in the real estate business, it doesn't matter. They're like, oh, how can I do it cheaper?
Yep.
And I don't think that that's almost ever the answer. And it certainly isn't in the restaurant business. We see that because the best restaurants in the world, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So especially being a pub,
Yep.
which I think you fall into more the classic definition of a pub, less so what, has been so Americanized. But when people think of pub food, unfortunately, they typically think of things that are frozen and chucked in a deep fryer.
Yep.
So
And we're
you've
the
chosen
complete
to go
opposite.
exactly. So you've chosen to go completely opposite. Why was that a distinct choice, or did it evolve naturally over time?
Oh, it was a complete choice. When we first opened up in Vaudreuil, I don't want to say we were better food, but we were trying to reach a higher market. We were trying to be more gastropub. And we realized right away that we couldn't do that. The market wouldn't sustain that where we were. But we always wanted to make everything from scratch, right? We wanted to do everything to distinguish ourselves from our competitors that were just simply better, right? You draw the analysis of trying to be cheaper. We knew that if we gave a good product, someone was going to give me money for it. And once they gave me money for it, it allowed that cycle of, hey, I can buy good food again and buy a top-notch product and actually process it properly and then make a good product again. And that cycle would just continue. We don't make billions of dollars. We don't make millions of dollars, but we do well enough to be in business for 15 years.
Yeah.
And the secret is quality.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you noticed that your clientele is vastly different, let's say, because obviously Jack Astor's is something that's going to be a little bit less expensive, or at least I imagine the bar menu would be a little bit less expensive. Have you noticed your clientele at Duke's vastly different than your experience at your other pubs?
Well, it's crazy that you say that because Jack Astor's is actually about 12% more expensive than me.
Oh man, my friend, I haven't been there in forever.
Wow.
My frame of reference
So-
must be old.
There's this crazy mentality of a lot of the box chains. If you go into a casual store, you go into a St. Hubert, you go into a Jack Astor's, they will be about 10 to 12% more expensive than me.
Wow.
I can't charge the same amount that they charge simply because my concept is pub. I'm the neighborhood pub. So there's the mentality that the same way you're not going to go into the Bay and try to haggle with prices.
Right.
You're not going to go to the Mercedes-Benz and haggle for prices. You'll go to the flea market, you'll go to the garage sale, you'll go to the mom and pop store in the village over here in the Point Claire Village, the small mom and pop stop. They might try to negotiate the price, whereas they don't do it at the top places. So people almost have this expectation that the neighborhood pub is supposed to be more reasonable. But I can tell you without question, when we do our market research, Jack Astor's is about 12% more expensive.
Wow,
than me.
that's insane.
Sadly,
That's insane. 'Cause
for alcohol, for cocktails, for everything across the board.
wow.
And you said you do your market research, so you're constantly looking at the market to make sure you guys are positioned well. How often are you doing that?
About every 9 months or so.
Okay.
About every 9 months to a year.
So about every baby.
About
you're
every
like
baby.
a
I got 4 of them.
There you go.
Every time. When my wife says yes, I go to the store. I go to the Jack Astor's.
So how obviously everybody in all of Canada and all of North America has experienced heavy inflation over the last little while. How's that affected your business, actually on both sides of the coin, in terms of you're buying the food also to prepare it and sell it, but then also people are going through the inflation, probably have a little bit less to spend. How has that affected you?
At the end of the day, we were just talking about the idea that people have to get their teeth fixed. So they're going to go to the dentist when they have a toothache.
Yeah.
People are going to get their hair cut. They have to go get their hair cut. They're not going to do that themselves. Restaurants are one of the things that you cut first and foremost all the time. They got to go to the store, buy food for themselves. So we feel that flux probably first. When interest rates go up, we feel it almost instantaneously.
Wow.
When there are stories of, even in the media, things are going up, we feel it instantaneously. It's hard, but being a mom and pop shop, I have flexibility.
Yeah.
I don't have to sell a Big Mac. I can customize my menu. I can find ways, making everything from scratch, I can sell a pork loin. So because I've got a great chef and we've got the flexibility of being on our own, we can not manipulate the situation, but I can sell lower, inexpensive things and still make good margin by selling a pasta linguine pomodoro, for instance. It's not my wheelhouse, but we can do that.
Wow, that's really cool.
And being that we make everything from scratch, our price point for the base foods that we buy isn't as high as the places that are buying them frozen.
Right. Yeah.
But
Because they're paying a premium that it's already done for them.
My expense on labor is massive. So
Right.
a typical restaurant has a labor cost of about 28 to 32%. We're closer to 40.
Okay.
So that's
Wow.
that's where the expense really goes. And that's when the COVID scenario really hurt restaurants, is because I replaced the one guy that was making 22, 24, 25 bucks an hour. He left to go get another career. I had to replace him with two people making 18, 19, 20 bucks an hour, but they burned the burger. So it was like, that was where the real challenge for restaurants happened post-COVID, was the supply of really talented, good back of house kitchen employees evaporated, and I had to replace them with people that just didn't have the same experience, but I still had to pay them more than what I was paying the combination before.
Right.
That was tough.
Brutal.
Yep. But we got through it.
And now, well, that's the other thing too, is staff has gone up in cost as well. So you have to factor in, like, how do you pass that to the consumer without driving the consumer away?
So I'm embarrassed to say this, to be perfectly honest, but I find my own place expensive. It's hard for me to take my 4 kids to my restaurant. Well, any restaurant for that sake, because we're even steel.
Hard to go to McDonald's now.
It's hard to go to McDonald's.
4
But-
kids.
So
geez.
we're charging $25 or $24 for a bacon cheeseburger. That's the going price. But I find that a lot. I'm old school, right? I'm a dinosaur. So how do I justify it? Very easily, because every May minimum wage goes up. 15, 20, whatever they raise it, whatever their target is, I will unabashedly, even if that's a word, raise my prices because I have to. At the end of the day, I have to protect the corporation, the shareholders, even my staff. I want my staff to have a job next February, so I have to raise my prices.
So how did, we talked about kind of your journey from place to place, but how did Duke and Devine start initially? So you had an idea, I want to start a pub. Take it away.
All right. So Jack Astor's led me to become a beer rep. My beer rep for McCaw's and Breweries encouraged me to go work for them. I said, yes, I'm leaving Jack Astor's after 10 years. I'm going to go become a beer rep. Had a great experience. McCaw's and Breweries, RJ Breweries, top-notch organization. While I was there, one of my current clients was a current competitor of mine. I won't mention any names. And he asked me, when he had opened up a second restaurant, hey, listen, we're struggling in my restaurant. Would you come and help us out and maybe leave being a beer rep and become the director of operations of my banner? I said, I thought over with my wife, and it seemed like a really cool opportunity. So I said yes. And I agreed to a sweat equity deal to go into business with this person. In the time that I was there for 3 years, I opened up a third location. I was part owner. And unfortunately, the relationship fell through. We don't all date the same girls. We don't stay married to the same people. We don't all stay in the same jobs. I was forced to leave, unfortunately. While I was there, I was actually working with my current business partner, who I met at Jack Astor's. And while we were there, we'd often say, when I was being treated poorly, wouldn't it be cool to open our own chain? I sued my former partner where I was. We settled, and I used that money to fund Duke and Devines.
Nice.
So on the label of Duke and Devines, it says established November 26th. There's no year, just November 26th. And people are, what's November 26th? That's the day I got fired.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my God, that's so cool.
I hope I didn't open any cans of worm of liability.
No,
saying
not at
anything.
all. You didn't say anything.
I was
That
trying to be
great.
as respectful
No,
as
that was
possible.
perfect. Are
Wonderful.
you kidding? No, now I'm just going to go to sleep tonight thinking about who that is, but that's okay.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah. That's awesome. So it was the beer rep that got you in with the beer company, and then once you left that side of it, you were like, I got to go back to restaurants, and you kind of had more of a full.
I had an opportunity when I was with that beer guy to go into being an owner of a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess from a very young age, I always wanted to be the owner of the restaurant. And I don't know where it came from. So much so that when we decided to open up Duke and Devines, my mom came up to help my wife with the kids. Because my wife was, at the moment, a stay-at-home mom. We had 3 kids at the time. And my mom expressed to Tara, my beautiful, lovely, crazy, adoring wife, said, isn't it wonderful that Cary gets to pursue his dream? So my mom knew that it was a dream of mine. I don't remember it being a dream of mine, but she kind of knew it was a dream of mine. But Tara said to my mom, it's not my fucking dream. So how it materialized, my wife wasn't necessarily fully on board. She wasn't.
Yeah.
I think she was one toe in, one toe out, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's a wife's job sometimes to look at the potential downsides. I find us guys, we're always thinking about everything's going to go perfectly.
Everything's going to go perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, she's probably hot on the heels of you getting screwed over in some ways. She's like, if this is the same thing happening again, probably, or whatever.
I remember my wife, the day I got fired, I was sitting on my couch and she walks to the door and I'm sitting on my couch and I'm bawling. And she's like, what happened? Crying my ass out. And she supported me the whole time. I had to go work at Madison's on Kirkland to pay for Christmas gifts. I was the family where people were actually dropping off gifts for my kids.
Oh, wow.
For that Christmas. I got a turkey donated because we were in hardship, right? It was right before the Lehman Brothers collapse. The economy had tanked where I got fired. So the fact that I had the, for lack of a better word, balls to go back into business and to pursue it was stupid and crazy, but it materialized out okay.
I find it the same image that you see when you look up stupid and entrepreneur in the dictionary, usually the same thing.
I don't know what...
Because you have to be like smart. It's like you have to be stupid enough to be that smart or smart enough to be that stupid.
You hit the nail on the head. I don't know what it is. We don't make millions of dollars, but I get to go watch my kids play sports.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the time equity, right? Like where the gift is that I get to go drive to Toronto and watch Daniel, my second born, play a football game, or watch Griffin play a basketball, or Thomas play a hockey game. That value is priceless. And where that came from, I'm not really sure.
And also, you pay to have all these kids play these sports too. Yeah. Let's not forget about the cost there. You mentioned hockey. Good Lord.
Yeah, hockey's a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge expense. My God. No, that's amazing. So when you get started, obviously you had a little bit of a cash injection. What are some things, like if somebody's listening to this and they're like, thank God they're doing one on restaurants. That's what I want to do. I want to start a restaurant. What are some prerequisites that somebody would need? Aside from obviously hopefully some experience.
Yeah, that would be the first thing.
Yeah, let's say they have that. Yeah, then what?
Don't go into it thinking that it's going to be easy. Number two, if you have the assets or you have the time to wait to buy the building, buy the building. Okay. If you have, I'll tie this in. If you have the patience to wait a year, or you can find a way to borrow more money to buy the building because you deleverage your risk.
Yeah.
You have the asset that you can be more forgiving with the rent. That would be number one. Number two, I would say have a year of bad business money in the bank. Because when restaurants do well, they do okay, right? Or they do well. You can make some money. It's not a crazy amount of money. When you do poorly, the burn rate is astronomical. So even if you're not opening the door, or a snowstorm happens, you still have staff, you still have rent, you still have hydro, you still have electricity. There are so many costs that are behind the scenes that are going to just ramp up. So you've got to have money in the bank to sustain yourself for a long period of time. I didn't do that, but we got dumb lucky. We're an Irish pub. We opened up on March 16th, our first location. So Irish pub opening up March 16th. We got the pre-St. Paddy's Day. We got St. Paddy's Day. We had a great Canadians run in the summer. We got dumb lucky. I was cash flow positive in my first restaurant in about 7 weeks.
That's insane.
It doesn't happen. Wow. Doesn't make any sense. Then when we opened our second location, we opened on March 9th. Still dumb lucky. March, Beau Repair Village, beautiful little terrace. Again, got dumb lucky. We were profitable right away. Wow. Then COVID happened. That's life. But we had the right concept at the right time.
You also pivoted really well. I remember you were doing take-home kind of boxes of things for people to be able to still have your food. And I was like, this guy is a freaking genius.
So the beer thing was brilliant too.
So don't applaud me just yet, because that turned out to be one of our, in some capacities, biggest mistakes.
Oh no.
So we pivoted right away, and it was designed to, in the beginning, keep our suppliers in business. And we wanted to support Alex from Horizon Fruit and Vegetables. How are we going to keep them going?
Sure.
So we said, let's try selling these boxes of vegetables. And it took off like that. So right away we said, hey, let's meet our clients' needs, because they don't want to go to the grocery store. They want to come here and pick up their box, and so forth. So we started selling these boxes of fruits and vegetables, proteins, mixes, beers, whatever it was. And we were happy to sell it. It kept us busy. We made a little bit of money, not a lot, but we were happy to do it. But we also realized, number one, the products that I was selling were top notch. Like when you ordered the chicken breast from me or the shrimp from me, they were there compared to what you're getting at the grocery store. People were loving it. What we didn't realize, because if I buy the ingredients to make you a fish and chips, it cost me $6 of ingredients, I'm going to sell it to you for $20. It's typically a 3 times markup, right? Thereabouts. In these baskets, I could not do that. I couldn't buy $6 worth of lemons and sell you for $18. I could never do that. So I made 10 points. I made 10%.
Oh, wow. That's really not a lot.
It wasn't a lot of margin, but we were still making a little bit of money, keeping my staff employed. All those things were good. But then we had this revenue coming in. I remember telling my dad, it's amazing. We did $25,000 worth of baskets. Sounds amazing. Great, right? But when it came time to do my application for my wage subsidy and my rent subsidy through the government, I had no clue. So it was always based on sales to sales.
Right.
So compare your sales this year to last year. But we took this experience of saying, well, let's do the baskets. Oh, this is great. We worked our butts off. But I gave up $80,000 worth of free money from the government because I sold $20,000 worth of baskets. So, okay, hold on. In hindsight, I'm not stressed about it because the political goodwill I had from the community that are still talking about it, saying, oh, you guys were amazing. You did this. I can't replace that. Money is money. Money will come, money will go, right? I haven't missed a meal. I haven't missed a mortgage payment. Money will come and go. That branding that I accidentally got into, people appreciate it beyond belief, still talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? So it was worth it.
Yep.
And the fact that I made people feel secure, I'm thrilled about.
Amazing. I remember even just during COVID, I was like, I just want to have Duke and Devines tonight. And I went there, and it was actually right when I came at the perfect time. The perfect time, man. I went in. It was right when your kegs were dying, so you're giving out free beer.
I was giving out the free beer for the
It was
the
the
bread.
best.
Yeah. I was giving out liters of beer to say, hey, go make some bread. Have a good time.
You had it in like your soup containers. It was so good.
Another mistake, because the beer rep that replaced me at McCausland Breweries, 6 months when people reopened, he says, hey, do you still have that beer? We're going to credit it all back to your account.
Oh, no.
So maybe
all this goodwill is slapping you in the face.
Maybe I'm not a good businessman.
Well,
but
people remember those things. They see those things, and like that was all over the West Island community. That was all over the social media. So it got amplified.
Yeah.
Like that was I was watching like what's called West Island community, hearing the news about what you were doing. And it was cool. You didn't have to go there to see it. People were talking.
What we just said is money will come, money will go, right? It's not always about the almighty dollar, but those stories will last forever, right? And that's the beauty of those experiences, but that's also the beauty of the pub. When a boy and a girl meet at Duke and Devines and they have their first date and they later on come back to say, oh yeah, we got engaged here. We're going to have our wedding here. Our baby was conceived in the bathroom. Any of those stories, all right? Those are the stories that I appreciate. I have staff members that have fallen in love, that have been dating ever since they met there, that have become great friends. That's the beauty of Duke and Devines, 100%. The people that have come together, the staff members that are now best friends, that's what I'm going to take to my grave.
That's just... that was such a beautiful thing.
Right.
I don't know what
the podcast is over. We can't get better done.
Listen, I don't know if it gets any. I really don't think it gets any better
but
than that.
There's great truth in that.
But I actually have a ton more questions, so we're not ending now.
Well, but that's the thing. Like that's why you do it. There's things that you can't buy, and that's something you cannot buy.
There's things that you cannot buy.
Yeah,
100%. The time you cannot buy, the relationship you cannot buy.
So one question for you, which is looking into the future, is what does the future hold for Duke and Devines? Is there a third location upcoming?
So we made an offer on a third location 4 years ago. We were going down that road.
Can you say whereabouts?
Yeah, for sure. Kelly's Orchard.
No way.
Yes way. So here, check it out.
Dude,
I
would literally go there like 4 times a week.
I approached Mr. Alan Fox, knowing the scenario in the family, and we came to an agreement on terms, payment, everything. And at the time, we were having struggles with my eldest son. And I didn't pull the trigger. I went to see him, and we were just getting ready, and I wasn't ready to take on that burden, that responsibility, knowing that we had some struggles.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mr. Fox will come back and visit later on. I can't pull the trigger. Came back to see him the next year. We had an agreed term, agreed price. Everyone was going down the right path, and my dad was ill. So again, it's like, you know what? He's going to pass. We can't pull the trigger. It is what it is. Yeah. Life is life. It may have caused me more stress. I may not be happy right now. Mm-hmm. You can't look back and say, coulda, shoulda, woulda. So, but at the moment right now, where I'm in my life and what I'm doing, I'm probably going to get into real estate.
Oh, cool.
Really?
In terms of, I have land in PEI that I want to develop. So will there be a third Duke and Devines? Probably not. There might be a food truck in PEI, but I don't think I'm going to go down to a brick and mortar location just because it's a lot of work.
So when you were going to buy Kelly's pub, this was after it was an Old Orchard, though?
No, this was before it was an Old Orchard.
Oh, okay. This is before Old Orchard purchased.
I'm pretty sure the Old Orchard found out about it through the realtor that Kelly's was dealing with, that it came through.
I understand. Okay. So now it's kind of off the table now.
Yeah, it's off the table. Yeah. In a perfect world, I might still do it because we're doing well right now. Like COVID is over.
Who do you have that's managing? It's not still. Is it still you boots on the ground every day?
It's still me boots on the ground Monday to Friday kind of thing. During the day, I go in when I have to at night. I've got a crazy great manager named Jennifer that does the same kind of stuff.
She hits both locations?
Nope, just the one.
Just Beaconsfield.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do you have a separate manager over at?
I'm not involved in Vaudreuil anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I sold my shares to my partner and his brother-in-law.
Okay.
So now there's 2 separate restaurants.
Okay, perfect.
But you guys still communicate? Is everything still like
we're still
identical?
Almost identical. Different markets, so slightly different menus.
Makes sense.
Very slight.
Understood.
Yeah.
Cool.
Will there be a third? Maybe, but I don't think so.
It's kind of interesting. It sounds like something stopped you every single step of the way to try to make the third location. It was almost like something was telling you not to do it. And I'm wacky about that.
Yep.
Like something told you to do it at the beginning, and then something told you not to. And now you have another opportunity. So sometimes you have to listen to your gut. You have to listen to what the universe is putting in front of you.
At the end of the day, this is not part of the podcast. If the universe is telling me not to do it, I'm okay not doing it. I'm like I said, I haven't missed a meal. Get to spend time with my kids. My wife still likes me most of the time.
I'm still going to talk about this. The Kelly's deal was that you were going to own the building as well.
That was going to be part of the deal, but in the beginning it was only to own the fond de commerce, the business, and there would have been a right to own the building.
Did they own the building?
No.
Oh, okay, I understand. Okay,
the old orchard, from what I understand, does not own the building.
Okay,
they own the building in the Point Claire Village.
Because ideally, you would want to own a building if you were going to do it.
So right now, if I was going to do a third location, I would be speaking to somebody like you, saying, find me a building that I can convert into a restaurant.
Right.
But financially, we're not at the point where we could say, let's leverage with the asset in Beaconsfield to do that.
Right.
I would have to wait another 2 more years to feel comfortable putting that one at risk by taking away my time.
Yeah.
But it would be building first.
Yeah.
Good call. I've heard actually from I heard this in passing. I don't know where I heard this from, but like restaurateurs, they don't usually make as much money off of their first restaurant. It's when they expand to the multiple restaurants. And I feel like the restaurant game is about expansion. Like you're just supposed to.
So
is that wrong?
We're a mom and pop shop, right?
Okay.
But if I was able to divide my salary between 2 restaurants and my kitchen manager's salary, my partner, between 2 restaurants, we'd be more profitable. Mm-hmm. And each restaurant would be more profitable. That's the goal, right? The buying power doesn't change that much. I know I've already got the best possible deals possible for the product that I'm selling. It really is about dividing that labor cost for me and my partner in half, in a quarter, and a third.
And as time progresses, it's getting harder and harder to manage the labor costs, so that it like exponentially becomes important.
That's your biggest expense. It's always going to be labor and food costs. And because we're actually making everything from scratch, my food cost is 22, 23, 24%. But I'm manipulating everything. So on the day where I don't sell the burger I'm selling for $10, it costs me $3. The day I don't sell it, well, I keep $3 in my fridge, but it's costing me $100 of labor for the guys to be there to possibly sell the burger. So it's always going to be labor. That's your biggest expense. If anyone wants to open a restaurant, boots on the ground, have somebody in the kitchen, be the guys on site, do the work yourself for the first 2, 3, 4 years.
And that was you for the first 2, 3
oh my God,
years?
yeah. And I loved it. I love serving people.
How important is that, having that amazing chef? Because you have such a good chef.
If you can't do it, partner up with somebody that can do it.
And when you say partner, you're talking about equity share.
Oh yeah. You want to have that person have as much skin in the game as you do, if possible. If you can have him have as much skin in the game so that he wants to be with you and generate as much money as you can, you want to have that relationship.
Awesome. Where do you even find somebody like that?
Well,
you get lucky because you have a pub. It's all about luck. This thing.
Part of it is luck. So you want to talk about the universe again. So my partner in Beaconsfield is Philip Bayard. He's incredible. He's a good person. He's a good man. We get along. He's my brother. He's my husband. He's my wife. I love him, right? He's my head chef partner in Beaconsfield. Mm-hmm. When we opened up in Vaudreuil, we interviewed 2 people for the job. One guy, I don't remember his name. Other guy was Philip Bayard, my current partner. He was coming from the Beaconsfield Golf Club as the sous chef. Oh. He wanted a different challenge. He comes to see us. We hire him right away. We started being that high-end gastropub.
Yeah.
the consumer in Vaudreuil was not looking for high-end gastropub. They were looking for chicken fingers and chicken wings. Christmas Eve, the first year of operations, he's completely demoralized. He's made this great table d'hôte, torchon de foie gras. We've got this, we've got that. It's beautiful. That Christmas Eve lunch, they're ordering the burgers and the chicken fingers and the chicken wings. And he, in January, says, listen, I love you guys, but I'm resigning. I've been offered a full-time job at the Beaconsfield Golf Course as the head chef.
Oh, wow.
Phil, we wish you well. We stayed in contact. You take care of yourself. Thank you very much for the great year. But he was demoralized of us not being able to sell that product.
Yeah.
So by luck, so we had been looking for locations, never found them. But Phil and I always stayed in contact. He was looking for a business with some of his associates. He actually found the Bocage, the location.
Oh.
And found that it was for sale. It wasn't for him. It was too much money to invest for him to do his thing. He called me, said, hey, Cary, there might be a location for you in the Beau Repair Village. We went to see it. We loved it. We made an offer. The offer got accepted. First person I called was, hey, Phil, do you want to come on board with us?
Amazing.
So that's part of that universe.
It all came back around.
It all came back somehow. So somehow there are some connections in the world that happen. You believe whatever you want to believe in it, right? But keep your eyes open to seeing where that connection is.
So cool.
It's so funny that it's a pub because it's all coming back to like this like mystic kind of like things in the universe just come back together and work out. Really, really neat story.
Somehow it all came together. I don't get it, but it all did.
So good. So if you were going to give one final tip to anybody who is debating entering the restaurant business and with the hope to eventually become somebody of your stature in the restaurant business, what would you tell that person?
So when I was the beer rep, as I was getting ready to open up my own place, I literally asked all my clients, right, what would you do? And they all said, don't do it.
They're doing a good job.
No, they all said don't do it.
Yeah.
So the advice I would give to you, it can't be don't do it, right? If you've got a passion for it, go that route. But work for somebody else for as long as you can. Mm-hmm. Save up as much money so you have in the bank, you got cushion. Make sure you're legally protected with whatever you do. And the biggest thing would be the lighting that you have doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is when we created our financial plan to Duke and Devines, our budget line for lighting was $40,000. And my brother-in-law, who's one of the silent partners, and we were all looking at, on Google, chandeliers, this, chandeliers, that, $500, right? And then when it came down to Duke and Devines in Vaudreuil, the lighting that is still there is from Renault Depot, $17.99. So I guess where I'm going is prioritize where you're going to spend your money. Mm-hmm. And the chandelier doesn't matter. If you're making a restaurant where somebody has to come to look at the chandelier and say, oh my God, that's beautiful, you've missed it. They're going to come for the experience, the food, what you're creating. So I guess the point is know what you're selling.
I love it.
Yeah. So that chandelier that's there, that's $17. If I would have spent $40,000 on the lighting, I probably wouldn't have had any cash flow to deal with any hardship.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have the money to buy the good food.
Your money in the bank is probably better than the chandelier.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you say that because there's a restaurant that in an area where it struggles a lot.
But you know the old steak frit, and now it's
now people are going to know which place I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I went there with my son.
It may or
Thomas.
may not be that one.
It might be or not.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But I went there a long time ago after a baseball game with my son Thomas, and the highlight of the meal was the cold butter and the warm bread. So that tells you the idea of the experience. The chandelier was gorgeous. The amount of money they spent on all the decor was gorgeous. Yeah. But I believe that concept makes their money from weddings and receptions.
I believe so too.
Good on them.
Yeah.
I hope they survive and stay in business for a long time because it's a lot of money.
It's just a huge place.
It's a huge place with a huge expense. And
it's also not the easiest to get to. Mm-hmm. Like, it's weird to get to it. So a lot of restaurants have struggled there. Yep. So that was the first thing I said when I walked in. I saw the chandelier. I was like, man, when this place goes under, I want that chandelier.
but Duke and Devine's Beaconsfield is difficult to get to in its own capacity.
Is it?
100%.
So
when you think about it, so if you're coming from Kirkland, where that restaurant is, I've got clients that come all the way to Duke and Devine's. It's easier to go to that restaurant, steak frit.
Sure.
Yeah.
You just got to go around a little bit.
That's it. You got to go around.
But hold on. But it's less time. Yeah. The point is like they invested all their money in this beautiful chandelier, and didn't find a way to make somebody feel that their money was valued.
Yeah.
When you come into my restaurant, I can guarantee you that I'm going to try to find a way to make sure that your money is valued.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we actually went to the location to take team photos one year. We haven't done that at Duke's yet, so we gotta get.
We
some-
should.
some
That would be
team
so
photos.
on brand.
See you
It would
tomorrow.
be.
I say that to people as they leave. Okay, see you tomorrow, guys. And it's actually worked once.
So good.
It worked once. And I remember it was a Saturday afternoon, and I'm at the terrace, and I see this guy coming by. Yep, I'm back. You told me to see you tomorrow. I'm back.
That's so good. I love that. Cary, thank you so much for spending
I
the
don't
time
want this
with
to
us
be over.
today.
This is
I know. We're going to have you back for a part 2.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, it's just, yeah.
My big question that
we
I
gotta go.
wanna
We
ask-
gotta go.
Yeah. Well, it's just everyone's got a pub story. Like everyone has that one story when they're, there's one time I was at the pub. You work in a pub. You own a pub. Your pub story must be insane. We can either use that as a cliffhanger for the next time we have you, or if you've got a one just in the chamber, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell the story. The moment the mics go off, I'll tell the story.
All right. We may or may not have him back to tell a pub story. Again, Cary, thank you so much for being here today. It was so much fun chatting with you. We're
pleasure.
definitely going to have you back. And I'm going to try and find you a building to get a Duke and Devine's even closer to my house than it already is. But yeah, guys, if anybody's looking for the best frickin' meal at a pub you've ever had, you have to check out Duke and Devine's. It's the best place to have food. It's the best place to split the G and have a nice pint of Guinness.
Can I say one last thing?
Heck yeah.
If ever there's a way I can help somebody who's thinking about doing this business, if there's a way you can contact Logan and somehow him be directed towards me, it would be my pleasure to offer up any kind of advice.
That's so nice. I love that.
That's awesome.
Thanks again for tuning in. This is Montreal's Elite Unleashed podcast for hustlers looking to level up their lives. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.